my name is Joey Barrett. I'm coming to you with Drawing Near, and this segment is called Best Bang for Your Buck. So today we're going to look at camera arms. So if you're into self-filming or you're thinking about getting into self-filming, you're not sure where to start, you've come to the right place, especially if you're hunting on a tight budget. And that's key here because this is all about budget hunting. Okay, so without further ado, let's go through and start reviewing some of these camera arms. Okay, first on the list, this is kind of a duo here because this is two products into one. Typically, this is just a bow hanger where you'd put your bow on the end of this. Okay, but what I've done is I've went and I've bought the Muddy micro mount attachment, and I put this on the end of this bow hanger, and then I put the camera on top of here, and then I can use this to film. Now, typically, there's a piece that overlaps here, overhangs. And I put the camera, and you just screw the camera on top of that. But I've broken this piece off, so that's why it doesn't, maybe it looks a little weird to you, okay? So some of the pros, there are a bunch of pros to this. First of all, this thing is super lightweight, okay? This thing basically weighs nothing. It's compact. It's easy to put in a bag or attached to the outside of your bag. You can carry this thing with you if you had to, but it basically weighs nothing. As far as a price point, you're looking at somewhere around probably $20 for the bow hanger, and you might be able to find it for a little bit less. You might be able to find it for a little bit more, but somewhere around $20 for that. And then you're looking at somewhere probably around $25 to $35 for the Muddy micro mount. So, you know, safe to say, you can get both of these products and use this for a camera arm. For around $50. It's easy to turn, it's easy to move, and again, it's super lightweight. It's easy to take with you. So that's a nice thing to use to maybe start out with if you're just thinking about getting into self-filming, or maybe you had a nice camera arm and you broke it. And you want to get something, but you don't want to pay all the money. You can do that for roughly around $50, and that'll get you going. So let's go through some of the negative things. Again, like its greatest, or one of its greatest strengths, is also one of its strongest weaknesses, and that is the fact that it's super lightweight. Okay, so you put a camera on top of here. First of all, you have to screw this into the tree, and that too can be kind of a nuisance and can get kind of annoying, especially how awkward it is to screw this into a tree, or it can be. And then if it's cold outside and you got your gloves on, you start turning this around, then you get your glove and your fingers get all bent and everything. So it's kind of a nuisance. The other thing is, once you get a camera on the end of this and you've got that weight on here, I would not recommend that you actually put your bow on the end of this, because you might start turning over and then you lose your bow or your camera or both. So that's one thing. The second thing is, the longer you use this and the more weight that you have on the end of it, the more these pieces and these brackets are going to loosen up, and then they're going to move, and it's just not going to be, I don't know how else to say it. The quality is just not that great. You're going to get what you pay for here, and over time this is going to wear. Of course, you can tighten these back up and get it tight again, but these brackets aren't the greatest. So you got that weight on the end, and then over time it's going to kind of break down a little bit. It can be hard. Again, it can be hard to stabilize. You've got the weight on the end, and what I notice with my camera is if I'm moving my camera real quick to get on a deer, I notice that there's a little bit of a bounce, and it's hard to get it stabilized and get it balanced again. So that's another thing. Other than these joints loosening up, mine broke, and I'm not even sure exactly what happened. I was getting ready to get in a tree. I swung my backpack around, and it was attached to the outside, and I think that top piece hit the tree and just broke clean off. So you're really going to want to be careful with this and make sure you don't hit it up against anything, because it might break. So you've got the inconvenience of screwing it into the tree. You got the fact that I actually broke the micro mount. The joints will loosen up in time. It can be hard to stabilize your camera, especially if it's somewhat heavy. but it is super lightweight. It's easy to take. It's relatively cheap, around 50 bucks. It's easy to turn. It's easy to move. So there are your pros and there are your cons. Again, this is the Realtree Easy Hanger with the muddy micro mount. And I've seen some different hunters use these. Chris B, I think I've seen him use this for a secondary camera. And so there's an idea if you have a nicer camera arm that you want to use your main camera for, and you've got a secondary camera, by all means, this might be a fantastic option for that. And this could be a good enough option to get you by. So if I'm going to score this, I'm going to give this a rating. This will get the job done for you. I'm probably going to score that. That's probably a 100-incher right there. That's a 100-inch buck right there. That's what I'd score that. Take a few inches. You might be 95 inches. You might be 105 inches. But this is around a 100-incher right here. That's what I would compare this to. So there he is. All right. Second on the list. This is, hold on. I got some notes, and it's best that I stick with my notes. This is HME's camera arm. I don't know if it has some other designation, but that's what it is. HME is the brand that makes this, and it's their camera arm. Okay. Just to kind of show you what this would do or what this would have is there would be a bracket here. You would screw that into the tree. Then you would put this on that, and then there would be a bolt that you would screw in to tighten it in. Obviously, just like with my other camera arm, there have been some malfunctions, and so I've actually lost the bracket that you screw into the tree. When I bought this one, it came with 3, and I'm going to stop right there because that's going to be some of my cons. Let's go into the pros, okay? Pros. This thing is sturdy, yet it's still lightweight. This thing is pretty light. It has a longer head. I guess I didn't really talk a whole lot about the one on the muddy micro mount, but it's got a longer head, so it's nicer to turn and to film, and so it's good for that. The bracket that goes on here that you screw into the tree, and then the bolt that you put on, you can tighten or loosen the bracket, or tighten or loosen the bolt, and that could potentially help you a little bit when it comes to balancing, because not all trees are created equal. They're not all straight, or might not be exactly straight on the tree. So you've got a little bit more flexibility with maybe getting this thing balanced out depending on the tree and your setup, as opposed to the Easy Hanger bow mount. So you got that going for it. And this might be funny. We're talking about filming and camera arms, but the best thing that this thing has going for it are these 2 little hooks right here. Every time I've gone to hunt, I don't hunt with my quiver on my bow, so I just put my quiver on here, and this thing has been sturdy enough I could even put my bow on this one, and so that is super nice compared to the last one that we looked at. That's probably the best thing that this has going for it. I love the fact that it has these 2 hooks. Okay, so let's go into some of the cons. One, you do have a longer head, but this thing is super jerky. I mean, the quality of footage that you're going to get when you start turning this thing, it's not going to be great. Your camera's going to be jerking whenever you turn this thing left or right, or even up or down. The one thing that you can try to do to help that is you can adjust these screws and maybe loosen them up, because when you get it standard, it's going to be super hard to even move. So that's one thing that you can do, is you can loosen these bolts to hopefully help get you some more smooth movement when you're actually trying to do filming in the tree. Okay, now the bracket, the screw-in that I've lost, again, when I bought this, it came with 3 of them. Okay, so you're thinking, well, hey, that's great. 3 is better than 1. Okay, I've lost all 3. Either I've lost one in my shed possibly, and maybe 2 other ones are in trees out in the woods. And the problem that I've had, I'm not the strongest guy, I'm not the strongest hunter in the woods, but I know I'm not the weakest. And here has been one of my biggest hang-ups, is when it's really cold outside, It's not so bad when you get up, you're fresh, your blood's been pumping. It's not too hard to get that thing in the tree. It can be sometimes, but most of the time, I can get that in there. But after I've been in the tree, excuse me, after I've been in the tree for a while, and I can't feel my fingers because it's so cold outside, and I'm getting everything packed back into my bag and getting ready to go home, that thing is so stinking hard to get out of the tree. Man, I've almost cried at times trying to get that thing out of the tree. So if this is something that you're going to get, I might encourage you to bring a pair of pliers or something with you, because it's going to be hard or near impossible to get that thing back out of the tree when you're freezing cold and you got to go home because it's dark. Now, if you only hunt 1 or 2 stand locations and they're fixed and that's where you're going to be, no problem if you leave it there, right? But if you're hunting on public land, or if you're a hang and hunt guy or a self-climber guy and you just kind of bounce around or make adjustments, that's going to be a huge problem. That's going to be a big setback for you. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Now, price point wise, this thing is awesome. I mean, you could probably get this. You can probably get this for $20. You might even be able to get it for less than $20 at some places. You can probably get this for $15 or $20. Maybe if you buy it online, you might have to pay shipping. It might be a little over $20. But for $20, I mean, you got a camera arm, so it's better than nothing, right? As far as a rating goes, man, it's got pros, it's got cons, just like the Easy Hanger with the Muddy Micro Mount. And those things are neck and neck. I mean, they both got some good things going for them, and they got some bad things working for them. I'm going to have to rate that HME. I'm going to have to score him. He's a 100-incher. He's right there. I mean, he might be 105. He might be 95. He is somewhere around a 100-inch buck, and that's what he's going to score. So you get what you pay for there with that. Okay? Here's our third and our final camera arm that I'm going to review today. And this is the Hawk Hunt Hard camera arm. Okay? So one of the pros that it has to it, as opposed to the last two that we looked at, is it's got a ratchet strap. So you put this thing on, you ratchet it around the tree, and then it has a loop. I don't know if you're seeing this or not, but once you get it around the tree, then you just kind of loop it around here, and then you pull it tight, and then you ratchet it on, and it's good to go. The other cool thing that it has is it has this little thing right here, and this will actually help you balance the camera arm while it's on the tree. So you can move it in or you can move it out to help you adjust to make sure that you're level, okay? Make sure that you're balanced. So apart from the ratchet system, the screw-in mechanism to help you with leveling, this thing is sturdy, but again, it's not heavy. It's sturdy, but it's not heavy. It's just comparing it to the other two, it is a little bit more heavy than the HME. It's definitely heavier than the Easy Hanger. But there's a quality difference that is very noticeable. The quality of this camera arm is so much better. Okay, I mean, you have welded these pieces. There are welded pieces on here with the metal, and these joints here. You can put a camera on here. You can put a heavy camera on here, and these joints aren't wearing down and loosening up over time. They're staying tight but flexible. This is able to rotate, and this is able to rotate. I mean, it's got what you want for a camera arm. Okay, the head is nice. The head works. Okay, it's got a nice piece here that you can grab hold of. This will actually loosen. You can loosen this up, and so you can tilt this up, tilt this down with relative ease, and then you can tighten it up. And so it's got that working for it. It glides back and forth. The head is better. It's not producing jerky footage when I'm recording hunts. And again, it's not loosening over time. The one setup, or one of the setbacks, is really my fault. It's not even the camera's fault, and that is if you loosen this up. Sorry, if you loosen this up to move up and down. I was doing this earlier. One of my last hunts, I was loosening it so I could move up and down, and then I left it loose, and then I just kind of went to watching the deer, and the next thing I knew, the camera had rotated this thing and it was down like this. So that's not necessarily a fault of the camera arm. That's kind of a user error. So once I got it to where I wanted it, then, righty tighty, lefty loosey, you just tighten it up and then it'll stay there. That's, again, for a complaint, that's me. That's just, getting the kinks worked out, not so much anything wrong with the product itself. I guess I would say getting the strap, the strap can be somewhat annoying. Just making sure you got your strap all tied up when you're going, so you're not tripping over things. But again, that's such a minor thing. I just don't really have anything negative to say about it. For a price point range, I've seen this thing all over the place. Okay, I had a friend tell me he saw it like on clearance the other day for like 30 or like 35 to 40 bucks, and I've seen this thing online for like $100, and I think I bought this thing online for somewhere around 70 to 75 bucks. So it's kind of all over the place. You just got to look and hopefully find it for a good price. But this is a great product. And as far as rating this, as far as scoring this product, I'm going to say this is a no doubt Pope and Young buck. You can bring the nets out, because after you count up the deductions, this thing is still a Pope and Young. It is a no doubter. This is a great product. So if you can, instead of paying $50 or $20, if you could go up and say find this thing for 70 to 75 bucks online, that's something you gotta, I would say, pull the trigger on. But that's just my advice. You can get by with the other two, just know going in they have their setbacks. This has been a fantastic product for me, and I've had it for not even a full hunting season, but it's a great product. So I would definitely recommend that. Let me take a moment to also briefly discuss a couple of the camera arms that are noticeably missing in this product review. And that is the Muddy camera arms and the Fourth Arrow camera arms. I assume from what little knowledge I have that those two are kind of on top of the system right now, or on top of the game, so to speak. And I can't say a whole lot because I've never used either one of those. I just know that they're more expensive, and I know they're kind of top of the line. The Fourth camera arms are super expensive, but they are super nice. And just the whole mounting bracket system, the leveling system, how that's all set up. If I had the money to spend on one of those, I'd probably get one of those. The setbacks that I've heard from both of those are that they are heavy. They're pretty lanky, they're pretty bulky, and it can be hard or harder to transport those things where you're hunting. But I can't really give you a score. I can't score those products because I don't use either one of them. This is budget hunting, and these are the camera arms that I've used on a tight budget, and hopefully this product review has helped you out. I'm kind of approaching this from a Christian standpoint, and what I mean by that is the Bible talks about stewardship and that we need to be good stewards. And so I personally believe that Christians should be the best examples of stewards and stewardships that you see anywhere in the world. And I haven't always been that, but I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be the best steward that I can for God. And so if I can help you save money and spend your money wisely and not to waste it, then I'm glad that I've done that. And I would just like to close and encourage you, as always, to draw nearer to God, and He'll draw nearer to you. There's a passage I want to leave you guys with. It comes from the book of Hebrews. I believe it's Hebrews chapter 10, verse 22, and it talks about, the Hebrews writer says, let us draw near. Let us draw near with a true heart, with full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience, and our bodies washed with pure water. And so we need to be drawing near to God in all things. And so I want to encourage you to do that. I want to thank you for watching this video. And if you liked it, please like and subscribe. And I will bring you further content here in the future.